What's going on, fam? Back with another video. Hope you guys have been doing well. For today's video, I'm going to do some updates. I haven't done a video in a while. It's been just over 12 days. And really, I have been MIA because I wanted to see this trend change. I wanted to see some signs of relief and really just a reversal on the cards. Because look, when it comes to video content, I really want to make content when there's actually tangible updates. I don't want to regurgitate the same thing. So today, there was actually some quite nice updates, and I just want to show you guys what's going on, what's happening in the charts. Is the bear market starting? Are we having a final bounce to the upside, etc.? But without further ado, I'm Dope Oxide. I make content on YouTube, X, and CoinMarketCap, so be sure to follow those pages. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get right into it. First of all, liquidations. Liquidation's quite low, sitting at $300 million. But something to note is the long-short ratio, once again, is on the short side. So the majority is shorting the markets right now. And I would not be surprised that happens in the next few weeks. Next up is liquidation heat map. This liquidation heat map just shows me there's so many shorts to squeeze. And really, max pain is to the upside. Yes, we do have some liquidations below us, but as you guys can see, majority of the yellow is above us and majority of the liquidity is to the upside. So we can expect, in my opinion, if the market makers want to wipe out the majority, it's going to be on the short side. And looking at back in prior history, generally these liquidation levels usually do get swept. So if we do see a reversal from here, we can expect at least a deviation above to new all-time highs to really just sweep that liquidity. And if we do continue to the bear market making new lower lows, so be it. But we will be on top of it, and I will let you guys know and monitor the charts. Next up is the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. Ethereum to Bitcoin has some really nice updates. Of course, we're still in the bull flag, but something to note is we're testing resistance once again. And finally, for once, the RSI is actually starting to flip positively. As you guys can see, we've been on a nice little downtrend for the 12-hour RSI, but we're actually seeing a slight little reversion to the mean, to the upside. This tells me these higher lows and higher highs for the RSI means buyers are stepping in. And usually when the RSI starts flipping positive, that usually happens prior to a bullish move to the upside. So if we do see a continuation with the RSI, I would not be surprised we actually see that breakout for the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. And of course, that will mean Ethereum breaks out and altcoins will also do very well. Next up is the Ethereum to USD chart. On the lower time frames, it is recovering nicely, but we want to see what happens to a major higher time frame downtrend. As you guys can see, this higher time frame downtrend has been put in place since 27th of October. And as long as we stay below this, we can expect continuation to the downside. But once again, from the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, we are seeing RSI actually starting to bulge to the upside. And as long as this goes to the upside, I do expect this might actually increase our chances of a breakout. So as you guys can see on the 12-hour, we've actually broken out. We've been on this RSI downtrend since 5th of October. We've finally broken out. This tells us buyers are starting to step in and there is seller exhaustion. And this actually increases our chances of a downtrend breakout. And if we do see that breakout, we can expect 3,200 and beyond. Next up is the king, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's looking really good here. Of course, we had a major breakdown last week with extreme fear, but I did show you guys on my X page, so be sure to follow my X page because I do some chart updates over there. But when it comes to Bitcoin, because I actually drew up this TA analysis over on my X page, we had a massive parabolic move to the downside. The same way that it finished its move to the upside, if we get the inversion of that happening, we can expect the opposite to happen. So if I actually invert this scale to make it easier for you guys to see, as you guys can see, Bitcoin's been a textbook parabolic move basically since the start of October. And generally, these kind of parabolic moves always end up to where it started from. If we do expect this is the same as any other parabolic move, at the worst case, we can see a test of the previous highs, which is around that 103k level. But generally, these actually break down to new lows, so I would not be surprised this actually happens. I'm still quite bullish on the markets, but of course, when it comes to our time frames, more than likely it has been extended. As long as we see this continued breakdown of Bitcoin on the inverted chart, and specifically a breakout to the upside on the normal chart, we can expect new highs and higher lows. And if I zoom into on the lower time frames, as you guys can see, on the lower time frame downtrends, we can actually see that Bitcoin is starting to break out. Since this downtrend here at the 11th of November, we've actually broken out as of today. And the next stop is definitely that 99k level, depending where we actually touch it. And I do think that is the next magnet of resistance. And if we do break above, I do expect all-time high is on the cards. Next up is Total 3. Total 3 has also started breakout to the upside, which is to be expected since Bitcoin and Ethereum are having their relief bounces. And same goes for the others chart, but something significant to note is, as you guys can see on the daily has actually been wicking into this major downtrend trend line for basically the past month. And as you guys can see, every time we've tested it as resistance, we're broken down. But for the first time ever, on the daily at least, we're actually starting to trade above it. And if we do close above, that downtrend is complete, and we can expect a nice little reversal to the upside for the average chart, which is of course our altcoins. If I go to lower time frames, we're technically testing below it as resistance right now. So I really want to see a breakout to the upside, ideally this week. And if we do see that breakout, we can see a really nice relief bounce to the upside. Next up is the king of memes on base. It's Toshi. Toshi is looking really good from here because same goes for the others chart. We're actually breaking out of lower time frame downtrends. And if we do see a nice little breakout in continuation, we can then expect a nice little retest of that 0.005 level. And if we do break out of that, that completes our downtrend and we can really start expecting acceleration to the upside to occur for Toshi. But one thing to note is the unbalanced volume. When it comes to unbalanced volume, generally we want to see this trading upwards because that means there's more interest going to Toshi. More volume, and generally more volume is bullish for a coin. As you guys can see, basically since the uptrend that has continued on from Toshi back on the 5th of April, we had a nice little uptrend on the unbalanced volume. We generally want it to go higher, but as you guys can see, we had a technical breakdown the past few weeks, but we're testing the recent unbalanced volume uptrend as resistance. I really want to break above this because same goes as the RSI. If we do see this unbalanced volume breakout to the upside, I can expect some breakouts to occur for Toshi. So in the next few days, if you guys see the unbalanced volume actually breaking above and closing above this major uptrend, I do expect a breakout is to occur for Toshi. And once again for Toshi, the thesis is it's the #1 meme coin on base. And I do expect once base chain gets its massive inflows for the remainder of this bull market, we can also expect Toshi to get a lot of that inflows because Toshi is the king of memes. Toshi is the #1 cat coin and the #1 meme of base chain. Alright, so that's all for the technical analysis. Let's go to the news. Next up is the Fed Watch tool. As you guys can see, 84% of a rate cut for the 10th of December. I do expect a rate cut is to happen, and we can expect even more inflows from the traditional markets into crypto. And another reminder as well, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index has had consecutive extreme fear days, and I've told you guys plenty of times, generally these fear and greed bottoming formations take a while to play out, but I would not be surprised this bottoming formation is about to complete. If I actually draw up a trend line for the fear and greed index, it's been in a technical wedge for the past few weeks, and it's really looking like it's about to break out to the upside. I did tell you guys, if this wedge actually breaks down, we can expect more fear to happen. But look, we tested that bullish wedge as support multiple times, and if we do break out of this wedge and have continuation to the upside, which generally means more inflows in our coins, higher prices, and stronger sentiment. So if we do see that happen in the next few weeks, I do expect Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as our altcoins, to continue to make new highs, and this relief bounce could actually transition into a full-on reversal. Next up is tweets. First tweet is by Geometric. Bitcoin dominance, come on, fall already, keep us waiting since August. So this chart is very significant because as you guys can see, this Gaussian channel has been a major resistance and support level since basically its inception. This chart is so important because it just shows us the Gaussian channel for the Bitcoin dominance chart has been tested as support for this whole bull cycle. Because look, as you guys can see, we tested it once, we tested it twice, and we actually tested it technically on the third time, but actually broken down recently. And look, what does this tell us? This tells us for this bull cycle at least, the Bitcoin dominance has finally started to change trend. If we see a breakdown and a retest of his Gaussian channel, we can then expect continuation to the downside for Bitcoin dominance, which of course mean alt season. And if we do see that alt season, we can expect base native token assets to really explode to the upside. But worst case really is Bitcoin dominance is going to start really going down to the downside. We may not have a full-blown alt season, but we can expect at the very least relief bounces across the board for our altcoins. Next up is by Exit Pump. Bitcoin deleveraging is healthy for the market. So this chopping for Bitcoin has been so boring. We had that capitulation event, and now we're just really grinding higher lows and higher highs very slowly. But something really good to see is open interest, which is basically the total leverage across all markets, is actually grinding down. So we want to see this keep grinding down because we want to see less leverage in the markets and actually real true spot bidding propping the price, because that is of course a more healthier market. Next up is by Crypto Hub. Hear me out, Ethereum 3300. So same goes for the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. This is actually way more significant because as you guys can see, we have so much more liquidations above us than below us compared to Bitcoin. And this just tells me Ethereum is more than likely going to break out of that Ethereum to Bitcoin chart very soon. If we see that breakout to the upside, we are going to see major liquidation events for the shorts. We're going to see way more short squeezes. And this actually might be hinting the fact that we may just see Ethereum all-time highs for our next bounce to the upside before Bitcoin, which might actually mean we might see a full-blown base chain alt season, and will of course mean our coins like Toshi, alien-based mobile token will pump to the upside. Next tweet is by Super Bitcoin Bro. While spot Bitcoin had 4 death crosses since 2023, CME Futures has not had a single one. Look for mean reversion as the first death cross approaches, but exercise caution into a downward sloping 200 moving average. So as you guys can see, for the CME chart for Bitcoin, which is basically only traded during business hours, tested as support multiple times, but we haven't actually ever broken down, at least for the CME chart, and we actually haven't had a death cross for this chart. So when it comes to death crosses, generally death crosses is quite bullish because that means the downside is already limited. But it is quite different for the CME futures because we've actually never had it for this whole bull market. So what do I want to see? I want to see this chart reverse to the upside very quickly because we actually don't have much time for this death cross to play out. We probably have about 4 weeks or so for this to actually play out. So if this is not going to play out, if we don't see a death cross, that would actually mean Bitcoin's going to put in a V-sharp reversal to the upside to actually reverse this death cross from happening, and we can expect very large bounces across the board. So I will monitor this chart to you guys because the bad news about this is if we do see a death cross play for the CME chart, that is a technical trend reversal. The trend is changing, and generally that is more than likely going to mean a bear market is going to play out because this hasn't happened before for this bull cycle. So if it happens now, something has changed and something has broken. Next and final tweet is by CryptoFi. Ethereum setup. So as you guys can see, major downtrend. We've been on this major downtrend for a few weeks now. I do expect this breakout is to occur to the upside, especially if Ethereum to Bitcoin chart really breaks out. And look, when it comes to that liquidation heat map, I told you guys, that liquidation heat map might just be the fuel to the fire for Ethereum to break out. And once again, if we do see that Ethereum breakout, we can expect nice acceleration to the upside for multiple coins across base chain. But that's all to the video, guys. Hope you guys like the updates. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below if you have any questions. When it comes to Bitcoin, I genuinely think that we're probably going to see at least a relief bounce to the upside, maybe tag those 100k levels. Let's see if we get a full-on reversal to all-time highs because we haven't seen those data points just yet when it comes to Bitcoin. But I do expect a bounce to the upside. These are the times to really lock in because it's a very large inflection point. We may just see the continuation to the bull market or the beginning innings of a bear market. So that's all to the video, guys. Have a good one. Have a good day. Peace.